that you need to do when you are color correcting is just look at your footage and make an assessment of the images. For any of you who are photographers, you are used to doing this with your images and using the histogram in Photoshop to assess, where things are at. So you're just going to be using your eyes for this. So always make sure that you're in the color workspace in Premiere. And here you'll have your scopes. So we have our scopes here. And if you are wondering where all of yours are at and you only have one, you're going to click on this little wrench down here. And you'll see that I have the vector scope for hue and saturation, the parade for RGB, and the waveform, okay? So these are the three scopes that I'm going to be using. There's a couple other ones here. If you want to use those are fine. But these are the three that we're going to be looking at. So if you can't find them, it's in this little wrench right here. Okay, so next, you guys will have this file and it'll all be one. So what you need to do is chop it up into three. So let's go and separate these. Do a little cut. Okay. And do a little cut. All right. So now we're going to have three separate. So we've got this file. We have the sky by the wood burning oven, and then we have this woman talking. Okay, so there's three different problems in these clips, and this is your assignment to fix the three different problems. And what you can do is you can go ahead and after you are done with the color correction, you can link them back together and just export it. Okay, all right, so let's just walk through the clips first of all and then assess the problem areas, okay? So when we're looking at this clip in particular, we see this woman and it looks very muddy, okay? So there's not a lot of contrast here. There's not true whites, there's not true blacks. So we need to look at this footage and we need to just see what should be white. Well, there's a lot of things that should be white. We've got these white papers as reference. She's wearing a white apron. I think this is a little off-white. And then what should be black? Well, I think back here, these window frames right here should be registering as, on this back wall, they should be registering as black. So the brightest part of the image is probably going to be her apron. The darkest part of the image is probably going to be these frames right here. So anyway, we have to look at the brightness contrast. It could use a little bit of contrast. This image is just dim and muddy. Nothing too dark, nothing is too dark, nothing is too light. So we need to increase the contrast in order to make it really pop. We need to make those brighter highlights and darker shadows. So brighter highlights and darker shadows in here. And so then the flesh tone is a little bit muddy too, so we'll look at warming those up to give her a little bit more life. Okay, so this next scene here, you've got like a major color cast because he's in front of an oven and then the entire image is very warm. I think overall it could be a little bit brighter. You don't want to overcorrect and destroy this warmth because that is part of the scene. But I think the shadows right here could be a little bit darker. The highlights could be a little bit brighter. And overall, I think it's a little too saturated. So we're going to take down the saturation just a little bit overall. Okay, and then we've got this clip right here where this is a little bit difficult because you're looking at the whites and the darks in the image. And here, there's not really anything that's true white. I mean, I guess the lines and the street are true white. Maybe those windows are. There's shadows here and here. But overall, the brightest part of this image is right up here. So what we need to do with this is we need to brighten it up just a little bit, but we want to protect our highlights and we don't want to blow those out. And then everything is a little bit muddy and flat, so we'll probably add a little bit of contrast here. So first things first is to just look through the footage and make an assessment. Make an assessment, just, okay, what do these need? And then kind of jot down your notes as far as what corrections need to be, what you need to be focusing on.